What's good, everyone? Welcome to today's video where we are going to be talking about setup and installation lecture. I can see you guys are popping up already. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Suleiman. Good morning, Amid. Good morning, Sunday. I hope we are all doing well. So in our previous lecture, we've talked about the introduction to Python, basically what Python is and what we can use Python for, those cool stuffs. So we spoke about that in our previous lecture. And in today's lecture, we are going to be going into setup and installation lecture. So good morning, everyone. Kindly confirm from the comment section if you can hear me. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's video. Alright guys, good morning, and in today's lecture we are going to be talking about how to set up and also install Python. Please kindly confirm from the comment section if you can hear me very well. Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today? All right, I can see we can hear me. Okay, very good. So without wasting much of our time, let's move on into what we have for today. So today we're going to be talking about how we can actually go ahead to install and get started with our Python programming language, and also the things that you need to know, the other ways we can actually go ahead to run and install Python also, which is very important because you guys have to know the other way that we can use Python, how we can run Python, and see the cool stuff that we can actually do with Python. So in today's video, we are going to be covering all of that, and let me just go ahead to go into my next slide. Okay, you can hear me, but it's kind of low. All right, so I'm going to increase my volume. Kindly confirm if you can hear me very well right now. Okay, so next, these are the things we are going to cover today, right? So the first thing is we are going to install Python and Anaconda. If you don't know what Python and Anaconda is, do not worry, I am going to be explaining everything. If you can't hear me, just do well to refresh your page. Shitsu, you can't hear. Aliyu, please kindly confirm if you can hear me. So we are going to look at how we can install Python. So a minute, let me make sure. Okay, much better. All right, very good. So we are also going to understand why we need Anaconda, right? And why do we really need to install Anaconda for Python? We're going to look at what Anaconda is in case you are just getting this for the first time. So don't worry, trust me, I'm going to give you analogy and I'm going to explain very well, right? So after that, we are also going to open and explore Jupyter Notebook. If you don't know what Jupyter Notebook is, don't worry, I'm going to be explaining it in a bit, so you don't need to worry yourself about what it is right now. Just make sure that you follow me and you pay attention to today's class. All right. So next we are going to, so there are many ways to actually run Python. You have to know this. There are many ways to run Python, and later on we're going to go ahead to explain the different ways between running PyScript and running Python code in a notebook, right? So we're going to look at different ways we can actually go ahead to run a PyScript and to actually run so let me go ahead to confirm this is showing very well. Okay, all right, so later on we're going to look at how the difference between running a PyScript and running a Python code in a notebook. Okay, you guys are complaining about the volume, so All right, so I hope you guys can hear me right now. If you can hear me very well, please kindly go ahead to confirm from the comment section. And also, if you are joining us from Enoch Sub, kindly go ahead to drop it in the comment section that you're from Enoch Sub. If you are from Philoma's family, also do well to drop it as you are joining this live class. All right, so let's continue. So to backtrack, I said there are different ways of running Python notebook. Okay, show this here very well. All right, so there are many ways to run Python, as I said earlier on, and later on we would explain the difference between running a Py script, that's .py script, and running a Python code in a notebook. So these are the two things that we are going to look at when we continue our course. All right. So either way, we will still actually need to install Python, right? So either we are running it using .py scripts or running the code in a notebook. I'm going to explain that, but either ways, we are still actually going to install Python, right? So first we are going to install Anaconda distribution for Python. And basically, if you don't know what Anaconda is, Anaconda is just a platform where you can use to is a platform where you can use to install that has different navigation launch tool, right? So what do I mean by this? Anaconda contains is like a platform where you are going to see different IDE. You can actually install different IDE. If you don't know what IDE means, I'm going to explain it also in a bit, but it means integrated development environment, right? And when we are mentioning IDE, just know that it's an environment where we can actually go ahead to write our Python code, right? So if you are schooling and you are going to school, right? If you want to attend lecture, what are you going to use to take down your notes in class? You're going to use your notebook, right? So that's how Python is also too. So to run Python code, we actually need something that we're going to run Python code on. I hope you guys are following me, right? So that's what Jupyter Notebook is going to help us to do, and I'm going to explain all of that also in a bit. All right. If my voice is low, kindly confirm if you can hear me very well now from the comment section. I'm trying to be audible enough. All right, so let's continue. So after that, Anaconda actually installs Python and different environment and navigator launch tool, and this was what I was explaining before, right? So Anaconda itself is a platform that you can use to install different IDEs, right? So Anaconda install Python. So once we can install Anaconda, we don't need to go ahead to install Python separately, right? So once we install Anaconda, Anaconda is going to help us to install Python itself, right? And different environment and navigator launch tool. So Anaconda is going to help us to do all of that, right? And last thing that we're going to do also is we are going to go ahead to explore online editor, right? So quick notes, um there are many online editors out there for Python that can run on your browser as long as you have an internet connection, right? So don't just say that we have Anaconda to just run Python. No, they are different. So let me just go ahead to hide my face here so you guys can see my screen very well. All right. Okay. All right, so there are many online editors for Python that can run in the browser as long as you have an internet connection, right? But this particular way of running Python is not officially part of this course. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief tour on how you can run these online editors at the end of our installation lecture. All right. So let's continue by going to install Python, right? So to install Python, actually, we are going to need an open source distribution called Anaconda, like I like I explained before, right? So for us to be able to run Python, we are going to need an open source distribution called Anaconda. And when I'm talking about open source, what do I mean by open source? Very good. So open source is a very common term that is used in the tech industry. And when I'm saying open source, I'm saying something that is free to use, right? So example of an application out there that is open source again is going to be like WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp is there for you guys. You can easily go to your app store, your Play Store, and install WhatsApp, and you are going to start using it directly without paying a dime, right? So when you hear something that is, when you hear the term open source, it means it's free to use, it's free for the community, right? So you guys should be very happy because Anaconda is free for the community to use. It's an open source IDE, right? So to install Python, we are actually going to need this Anaconda, and Anaconda distribution includes Python as well as many other useful libraries, including Jupyter Notebook environments, right? So when I'm talking about libraries, I'm talking about the different libraries that you might need for your data science project or data analysis project. Anaconda is going to come with most of these libraries, right? So most of those important libraries, and it also comes with Jupyter Notebook. And I mentioned what Jupyter Notebook is earlier on, right? So once we move further with this course, you are going to understand IDEs very well also, right? So Jupyter Notebook is an IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. I'm saying this again so that it's going to stick with you guys very well, because I'm going to be using this term very well, right? So Anaconda can also be easily installed on any major operating system. So whether you are using Windows operating system, or you are using Mac OS operating system, or you are using Linux, then Anaconda can be installed on any of these three operating system, and you're going to see how easy it is to go ahead to install Anaconda once we get started. And to install Anaconda, all you have to do is to head over to this www.anaconda.com/download to install Anaconda. So I'm going to go ahead to my browser right now to go ahead to open this link for you guys. So I'm just going to copy this link and I'm going to paste it to my browser, right? So currently I'm in my browser now, and let me just go ahead to display this for you guys so you can see and follow up as I'm going on with the lecture. Okay, so you can see I'm in my browser now, and what I did is I just went over to click on that link, so www.anaconda.com/download. I'm going to attach it to the description box below also, so you guys can go ahead to quickly do that. All right, so let me go ahead to do this. So you can just copy the link with me and go to Anaconda right now, or refresh your browser and go to the description box below that is displayed um, currently. And what you can do is click on the link that is there, right? So you see a link that says download Anaconda, right? So just click on that link. Once you refresh your browser, it's updated right now. So just refresh your browser and click on that link that says download Anaconda. It's going to bring you right to the screen that I'm on also, right? So what you are going to do is when you come to Anaconda, so I want to actually explain something to you guys. So there's something that is called Miniconda also, right? So let me just quickly explain this to you guys. So we have Anaconda and we have Miniconda, and you already know what Anaconda is right now. So Anaconda helps us. Anaconda consists of different navigator launch tool, right? So if you've heard of VS Code before, PyCharm, Spider, and all of those code desk editor, Anaconda comes with everything. And with those navigator launch tool, you can quickly go ahead to install whichever one you want to use quickly from that Anaconda IDE. That's why Anaconda is super easy and super used by most data analysts and data scientists right now. All right, can we get the link? And your voice is low. Okay, my voice is actually okay. Kindly confirm again from the comment section. Maybe you are still currently in the previous video. You are not currently on the live like currently right now. So my voice is actually okay, but I will try to increase the volume for you guys. All right, so once you come to this page, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead to click on this particular um, box that you can see here and go ahead to input your email address, right? So once you input your email address, you have to go ahead to click submit, right? So I'm not going to input my email address because I've done this before. So once you input your email address, just go ahead to click submit. So I was explaining something earlier on that we have Anaconda and Miniconda, right? So how do you know which one to install? Do you install Anaconda or should you install Miniconda? So there's a video right in the description box below that tells you and explains to you difference between Anaconda and Miniconda, so do well to check it out. So Anaconda basically comes with all the required libraries that you need to have when you are working, especially on data science projects or data analysis projects. So Anaconda comes with these different libraries and navigator launch too. But once it comes to Miniconda, the difference between Miniconda and Anaconda is just that Miniconda does not come with those libraries. So if you are looking at maximizing your system space and all of that, Miniconda is going to be the best option for you. But the downside is just when you want to use any library, you have to know it and install it by yourself. But Anaconda comes with everything pre-installed, right? So plus the library that you might not use, plus the library that will be useful to you, Anaconda has everything. And if you want a detailed video on explaining the difference between Miniconda and Anaconda, you can check the description box below. I've attached the video for you and I explained for you guys very well, so you can basically know the difference between Anaconda and Miniconda. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. Once you are done inputting your email address and you click on submit, they are going to send you the link and you'll be able to download Anaconda, right? So for beginners, I advise you to use Anaconda because Anaconda comes with everything installed and you don't need to stress yourself installing everything one by one, but you must have like good quality of space on your system. And basically once you install Anaconda, what you are going to see is you are going to see a navigator launch tool. So let me just go ahead to open this quickly for you guys. So once you install Anaconda, this is how it's going to be like. You're going to have something like this once you install Anaconda, right? So you can see that previously I was mentioning that we have different navigator launch tool. So one thing I also want to point out to you guys is when you are installing your Anaconda, if you want to run Jupyter Notebook from your command line, make sure to add it to paths. So once you're installing, you will see a message that says add Anaconda to paths, right? It's very important if you want to run Anaconda Jupyter Notebook from your command line. So tick on that box, add Anaconda to paths. If you don't understand what I'm saying yet, I also attached a video on how you can run Jupyter Notebook from your command line in the description box below, so do well to check it out. So once you install Anaconda, you are going to have something like this, right? I hope we are all following me in the comment section. If you are following me, kindly drop a yes and a fire emoji. Let's react. Let's like the video, guys. So once you install Anaconda, you are going to have something like this, right? So you remember I mentioned different navigator launch tools. So let me just go ahead to run you guys what we are having here currently. So you can see that here we have PyCharm, right? PyCharm is an IDE, like I mentioned earlier. If you don't know what IDE means, IDE means Integrated Development Environment, right? Okay, I can see. Okay, come again. What do you mean by come again? Emanuela, what part don't you get? All right, please kindly go ahead to destroy that like button so I can know you guys are following me. All right, I can see you guys are popping up. All right, very good. So you can see we also have Anaconda AI Navigator right here. We have Anaconda Toolbox, right? We have Anaconda Cloud and so on and so forth, right? But the major thing we are going to be focusing on in our Python class is this, right? Jupyter Notebook. Like I mentioned earlier, that we need something that we can run our Python code on, right? And it's called IDE. IDE means Integrated Development Environment. That's the platform we're going to use to run our Python notebook, right? And I'm going to explain that we have different Python environment also, like Python IDEs. I'm going to explain that in a bit also, but I want you to know that the major thing we're going to be using for this course is Jupyter Notebook, and I'm going to explain why in a bit. All right, so once you install Anaconda, you're going to see this. Let me just run you through the Anaconda interface. So how can we download the application on our laptop? I already explained that already. Just backtrack through the video. You're going to see that. Okay, please explain how to navigate Anaconda download. Yes. Oh, I am fast. Okay, I'm going to try to slow down my pace, right? Okay, so now, first of all, once you get to Anaconda, right, if you want to install it, click on the description box below. You're going to see Anaconda download, right? Click on that link. It's going to take you to this website right here that you're seeing here. So just input your email and click on submit, right? They are going to send you the link of how to download it, right? So to take you to a page and it's going to download the Anaconda for you. So once you download Anaconda, just double click on the Anaconda and install it. It's pretty straightforward. And don't forget to check mark the add Anaconda to path. All right, so now here we have the home page, right? And the home page basically shows all the navigator launch tools that are available on your Anaconda currently. So you can see that currently PyCharm is not installed. If you want to install PyCharm, you can directly install it from here, right? So these are different IDEs that we have in Anaconda. We also have VS Code, right? Currently it's installed on my system. And basically once you come here, what is going to show you is it's going to show you to connect, right? So if you want to connect your Anaconda cloud, your Anaconda server, you can come here to connect to it, right? So the next that we have here is environment, right? So these environments are basically the environment that you have on your system, and don't worry too much about environment right now. You don't really need it. I'm going to explain virtual environment in another lecture, right? So this learning actually gives you a link of different um, documentations that you can go ahead to read about Python, right? R or whatsoever. You can see we have PyTorch documentation. Remember I mentioned PyTorch is actually a framework that you use for building neural networks and all of that, right? So you can go ahead to read documentations. Yeah, you can see we have NumPy here also, right? So if you want to know more about NumPy, they have their own documentation right here. Once you click on read, we have pandas also. We have spider documentation. It's going to go ahead to direct you to the documentation so that you can go ahead to read more about it, right? um the page says Windows, Mac and Linux version is recommended. Okay, so if you are seeing Mac, Windows or Linux, you have to know the operating system that you are using on your system, right? So if you are using a Windows laptop, then download the Windows version. If you are using a Mac OS operating system, download a Mac version. Or if you are using Linux, then go ahead to install Linux also. All right. So next is this community, right? So this community is just a place where you can go ahead to discuss and engage more about different topics, like just like how you have your different WhatsApp group where you can communicate, right? So Anaconda also have its own community where they can go ahead to discuss more about these different tools that we have. So you can see NumPy. If you want to discuss about NumPy very well, you have all of that here. I can follow them on Instagram if you want to from this link right here, right? So we are done with this side, right? So but the major thing we're going to focus on is Jupyter Notebook, right? And I'm going to come back to explaining and giving you guys how the Jupyter Notebook look like. But before we go ahead to do that, let's go ahead to continue with our slide, which we are going to be talking about um different ways we can actually go ahead to run Python also, right? So before I go ahead to continue my Jupyter Notebook, so we have this currently. So let me just go ahead to hide my face right here so you can see it very well. All right. So we have this currently, and basically what this means is um, there are also free options that you can use online. So quickly, in case you don't want to, if you just want to run a quick Python command or you just want to quickly do a basic task, there are different free no install options that you can go ahead to use, right? So if you go ahead to this link right here, jupyternotebook.org/try, we have Google Colab, we have Replit, right? Or you can just Google search Python interpreter online, right? So I'm going to go ahead to do that with you guys right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to my browser, right? And we're going to do this together. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to just go back to my browser right here. Then I'm going to show you guys how you can actually go ahead to run these different online navigator launch tool, right? So right now, if I come to my browser now and I just search Python online interpreter, right? So you can see that we have different options right here. And don't forget, why do we need an interpreter, right? Interpreter is something that converts Python code into machine language, right? And to run our Python code, we are going to need an IDE, an editor that we can use to write our Python code. I hope you guys are following me. Okay, so I've tried to slow down my pace right now. Let me know if we are good to go from the comment section. All right, so you can see I just did a quick Google search, searching about online Python compiler, and this was what it brought out, right? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead to click on programmers, right? You can see programmers, right? And you can see that here we just have this simple option to just run Python. Don't worry if you don't understand what this is right now. What is saying here is just saying print try programmers.pro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this, and I'm just going to say print hello world. And once I run this, you will see right here that we're going to get our output, right? So basically what is happening right here now is we have this cool part. This part is where we're going to write our Python code, and we have this place where we're going to display our output, right? So this is an example of an online editor that you can use to run Python. All right, so if you are using a MacBook, is it a different way to download? No, if you are using a MacBook, just click on download Anaconda for Mac. You are going to be good to go, Suleiman. All right, so now this is how we can actually go ahead to run Python using an online editor, right? This is the simplest way you can go ahead to do that. But let's go ahead to continue, since we've looked at how we can run this using free or no code tool, right? And we've talked about this already. So now let's go ahead to um, the disadvantage of actually using this, right? So basically, if you want to perform a quick task, you can go ahead to actually run this using online editor. So you just want to try out something quickly, you can go ahead to use this online editor, right? And the downside is it's hard to upload, right, your own code, especially if you are working with large database, right, large code, right, large code database, right? It's going to be hard to be uploading all of that one by one, and sometimes when you go ahead to run your Python code, it might not even save in the free version, right? Because there are some online editors also that comes with paid version. Not everything are free, and not when I mean free, I mean not everything is actually open source, right? So, and I told you guys that it's not officially part of this course, or supported by this course, but I just wanted to show you guys how to run Python using an online editor. All right, so now let's look at how we can run our Python code. Now, there are several ways to run Python code, right? So first, let's discuss the various options for development environment, right? So there are three main types of environments, right? Just three key main types of environment of how we can run our Python code, right? So what is the first one? The first one is by using a text editor, right? So I'm going to give you an example of these text editors that we have, right? We also have using full IDEs. What's the meaning of IDE? I want you guys to drop it in the comment section so I can know you guys are following me. What is the full meaning of IDE? Right? So the next one that we have is running it through notebook environment, and I'm going to explain this theory and give example. Good morning, Sandra, you are welcome. So I want you to drop into the comment section the full meaning of IDE so I can know you guys are following me. All right, so first let's explain text editor. Please, I want you guys to go ahead to smash that like button so that YouTube algorithm knows that we are doing a great work in the family, right? So text editor, they are general editors for any text file. Very good. I can see Amid is popping up the chat already. Integrated development environment. Very correct. All right, so general editors for any text file, right? They work with a variety of file types. These are text editors that we have, right? They can be customized with plugins and add-ons and those cool stuffs, right? When it comes to working with text editor, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to keep it in mind that most are not designed with Python in mind. So example of this text editor is Sublime Text and Atom, right? These are IDEs also. These are examples of Python IDE, but they were not really integrated to run Python code, right? So now we know that there's text editor right now. So let's go ahead to look at the next one. I can see you guys are popping the chat already. We have David, integrated development. We have Babsling, Suleiman. We have Pokumi. We have Sandra. Very good. I can see you guys are following. Awesome. I'm super glad you guys are really following the chat. All right. So let's go ahead to see the next one that we have right now. So next we have full IDEs, right? So when I mean full IDEs, I'm saying these integrated development environments are mainly built to focus on Python and different programming language itself, right? So development environment designed specifically for Python, right? This is full IDE. So it can help you to write larger programs, right? And only community editions are actually free, not um, all of the full IDEs are actually open source. When I mean open source, I mean free to use, right? And um, they are designed specifically for Python and lots of extra functionalities when it comes to this full IDE, right? So these full IDEs, some are specifically designed for Python. Example is like PyCharm, right? So they are fully designed for Python, but not all the full IDEs are open source. Now, when I say open source, what do I mean? Free to use, right? And as a beginner, we want to actually use something that is free to use to write our Python code, right? So not all of these full IDEs are actually open source. All right. So the most popular IDE that we have is PyCharm and Spider. These are the most popular Python IDE that I've seen so far, right? So now the last one I'm going to be talking about is notebook environments, right? So when it comes to notebook environments, trust me, one of the best thing about notebook environments is they are great for learning, right? So when you hear notebook environment, just take a look at it like, okay, you have an IDE where you can run your Python code, and when you are also running your Python code, you can go ahead to jot down. Do you get it? So it's very, very amazing because just like as if you are saying, okay, I'm learning about a particular Python topic now, maybe for loops. And while I'm coding, I can jot down that, okay, for loop is actually a control statement that is used to iterate through a specific task. Writing it down in your notebook, right? That's something that is very, very cool about notebook. And that's why it's mostly recommended for beginners, right? And while writing your notebooks also, we are going to go ahead to see input and output next to each other. How awesome is that, guys? So when we are actually coding, we can be jotting down in our notebook, right? And we are going to be seeing the input and output that we're actually coding on our notebook, right? And it supports inline markdown notes, visualization, videos, and more. What else can be cooler than this? What is amazing is that when you are actually using a notebook, you can actually go ahead to use Markdown. If you don't know what Markdown is, don't worry. It's just a cool way of formatting your text, right? So you know, like how you write your normal notebook, you can do something like um centralize, then you underline, right? In your normal notebook, you can actually do all of those cool stuffs here, right? And you can do that using Markdown or using HTML, right? So when you hear MD format, it means Markdown format. Or when you hear, you can also write HTML. For those that know HTML very well, if you want to write header one, you can just use H1 open tag and close it, and H1 close tag, right? For those that know about HTML, you can actually do all of those cool stuff, writing it in your notebook, right? So the next thing is, when you are actually coding, you can actually also display visualizations on your notebook, right? So just like what you can do on Power BI, right? What you can do on Power BI, you can actually also go ahead to display cool visualizations on your Jupyter Notebook. How awesome is that, right? So the last one here is you can actually go ahead to do videos and many more, right? So these are the cool stuffs about Python notebook environments. So let's continue. And special files formats that are not .py, right? So what do I mean by this? When you are working with text file, .txt files, .ipynb, .ipynb means IPython notebook, right? So you can actually work with awesome formats that are not .py format also, right? So what whenever you're writing Python code, Python files are always stored in a .py format, right? Just like how we have .png, you know that that's a picture, right? Okay, um, I'm using AirPod and I can only hear from one ear despite using the two. So I don't know, that will be an issue from your end, Raphael. please check your mic. My mic is doing well. Please kindly confirm if you can hear me from the comment section very well. Okay. All right, very good. So just like how you have .png format, right? So let me see if you have this correctly. Okay, so just like how we have .png format, that signifies a picture image. We also have .py format, that signifies a Python file also, right? But when you're writing notebook, it's always stored in .ipynb, and it means I Python notebook. I'm audible. Thanks for confirming that, JD. All right, it means I Python notebook. So it's something you should take note of, right? So trust me, the most important note is development environments are personal choice, right? And it's highly dependent on personal preference, right? So to be honest, let me just tell you guys the truth. When it comes to writing Python code, it depends on your personal preference, right? So what I used to advise is for beginners that are just starting Python, especially those that want to dive into data analysis and data science, then using Python notebook is the best based on my personal opinion, right? And that is what we're also going to be using in this course. But when it comes to working with larger code base, right, building larger Python complex stacks and products, right, you can go ahead to explore those full IDEs that we have, right? I love using VS Code also for writing larger Python complex stacks, right? So, but when it comes to starting with Python, when it comes to working with project based on data analysis or data science, then for beginners, I'm going to recommend Python notebook. But trust me, it's still open to you guys. If you want to use PyCharm or anything you want to use, you are free to go ahead to use whatever fashion of Python environment that you want to use, right? So choose whichever development environment you prefer. That is something that I'm going to tell you guys, right? So now let's look at the course notebook, right? So the course notebook is actually going to show you all the materials that we are going to be using alongside this class, right? So don't forget that I said that this class is going to be a live session. So when we are actually writing our code, right? When we are writing our code in Python, I'm going to go ahead to also update the link right here. So if you look at the comment section down also, you are going to see a link that takes you to the Python course notebook. It's going to be empty for now, but I know with time, once we finish our Python course, everything is going to be occupied by the codes that we've written, right? So if you go to https slash github.com forward slash Eniola Ademola, then Python programming tutorial, then it's going to take you to the course notebook that we are going to be using. All right. Okay. If you can hear me, please kindly go ahead to smash that like button so that YouTube can know that we are doing a great work. All right. Please go ahead to smash that like button. I want to know that you guys are following me. Okay. Are we good to go? Okay, all right, very good. You can hear me. Thanks for that confirmation. Thank you for the confirmation. All right, so let's go ahead to continue with our Anaconda, right? So don't forget I told you guys that I was going to explain how we can go ahead to use Anaconda. So let's go out. We can go ahead to use our Jupyter Notebook, right? So quickly, let me just run you guys through how we can use Jupyter Notebook. So to use Jupyter Notebook, all you have to do is to come here. Once you have successfully installed Anaconda, it does take some time to install Anaconda. It depends on how fast your computer is. But basically, once you are done installing and you double click on that Anaconda, it's going to bring you here, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to click on Launch Jupyter Notebook, right? So just go ahead to click on Launch Jupyter Notebook. And when you click on Run Jupyter Notebook, you're going to see something like this. So you're going to see something like this. Let me just quickly come here and just show you guys what you're going to see, right? So once you come here, you're going to see something that is displayed like this. So this something like this magic command is just going to come up, right? So something like this is going to come up in your system. Don't be scared. What this does is it's just going to automatically run Jupyter Notebook from your command line directly, right? So Once you run this, it's going to take you to your browser, and your browser is going to bring you to something like this, right? So once you can see this, just know that you have successfully installed Anaconda. Especially once you can actually see this navigator launch tool also, then trust me, you are good to go. All right. So once you come here, let me just go ahead to explain what we have here. So let me go ahead to move this right here so you can see it very well, right? So what is happening right here? Let me go ahead to explain to you guys. Now, basically, what is happening is going to display everything that you have currently on your system. Everything you have currently on your system, right? And what do I mean by this? If you are familiar with your system, you know that you have desktop, documents where all your documents are. You also have download, you have movies, you have pictures. It depends on how your system is being structured, right? So once you are here, right, you can go ahead to open any folder that you want to use your Python code in, right? So but one cool thing that you can do is you can go ahead to your documents, right? So once you go to your documents, you can, so let me just go ahead to create a new folder in my documents for my terminal right here, for my finder. So I'll go to documents and I'll create a new folder and I'll name it Python tutorial course, right? So you can also do the same thing, right? What I did is I just went to my browser, to my finder on my Mac, and I went ahead to create a new folder called Python. So let me just go ahead to show you guys here. All right, so I created this new folder called Python tutorial course, right? You can see this right here, and it's empty currently, right? So what you can do is you can now go to your documents and open the Python tutorial course, right? So here I created a new folder called Python tutorial course, and here basically I can store all my Python notebook files here. So that's what you can do here. And what you can do is just come here, click on new, and click on Python 3i PyKernel to create a new Python notebook. So once you do that, it's going to bring you to a new tab right here. So before we go back and continue, let me go ahead to explain what we have here again, right? So here you are going to see your folder and file structure that you have on your system. And basically this one is just showing you welcome. You can actually just close this. It's not important right now for this course. And here you can actually perform some tasks. So I can click on this file, for example, and I can delete it right from here. And once I delete it, it's also going to delete from my system, right? So you can do some other cool stuff too from this particular part. If you want to upload a new notebook, so you can go ahead and click on upload, then you're going to upload a file from your system also. All right, so basically you should be good to go here. It's just basic things that you should see. New, you can see, you can create a new notebook or terminal or text file or Python file, right? So it's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory, guys. So what I want you to do before we end this course is just to explain the overview of how Jupyter Notebook looks like. Please, if we are following, please kindly go ahead to smash that like button so I can know you guys are with me. Smash that damn like button so YouTube algorithm can recommend our channel very well. All right, so let's continue with our class. And yeah, I can close that already because we don't need that right now. And once you open a Jupyter Notebook new file, you are going to see something like this, right? And what does this entail? I'm going to explain everything step by step, one by one for you guys, so pay attention. So first is this upper part here. This is just the logo of Jupyter Notebook, right? We all know why we need Jupyter Notebook right now. I know we all know that. And here you can go ahead to rename your file, right? So for example, I can rename this to um, first Python code, right? First Python code, rename, right? So you can rename your file here. So what will happen is once you do that, you see here that when I come to my file, it's going to show first Python code right here, right? So this is the first thing. It's going to update in our finder, or it's going to update in your file Yes, I think it's called file folder in on Windows, right? So whatever you do is going to update here also. Let me just go ahead to bring this right so you can see very well. All right. So that's one thing that you need to know. And basically, this one is going to show you the last time you saved the notebook, right? So if I click on Control S, so I'm going to press Control S. That's what's going to happen here. Control S. And once I click Control S, you can see that it changed from 2 minutes to what, 1 second ago, right? So once you click on Control S, so let me just zoom in so you guys can see my screen very well, right? So once you click on Control S, it's going to automatically save it. That's what it means by last checkpoint, right? So here is just the Python file logo, right? And also we have these different navigators here, right? So the first thing is, don't worry if you don't understand, you can just go ahead to watch the video again, or reduce the playback speed, or fasten it if I'm too slow, or reduce it if I'm too fast, right? The video is going to be here immediately we are done with this live, so you don't need to worry about that also. Emanuela, all right. So let me go ahead to explain these different navigator launcher that we have here, these different navigators here, right? So first thing is we have file. And basically what this file is you can actually go ahead to create a new file, notebook, terminal, text file, or markdown, or Python, right? So don't worry yourself about it, just understand what it's about, right? And you also have new console for notebook. You can see save notebook. You can also use Control S for that. It's the same thing. You can see also save notebook as, so this one means you can save it as something else, like another name of file that you want, right? And this one also means save all. You have rename, and basically these simple commands are basically something straightforward. And once we get along with the course, we are going to be using them very well. So you don't need to worry yourself much about all of this, because we are going to be using it and explaining it better once we go along with the course, right? So if you don't understand anything, don't worry, it's because it's your first time. Trust me, once we get along with the course, I'm going to explain everything better in details, because we are going to be using them together, right? So that's what you have in your files, right? You can also download it from here if you want to download it, and all of those cool stuffs, right? So we have edit also, right? Edit. Now this one is very, very cool, because you are going to be using this very well, right? So if you want to undo, Command Z, redo, Control Shift Z, or Control Y if you are using Windows. And all of this cell also cut, copy, paste, and paste cell above. So let's do some example, guys. So let's say I have this file, this cell right now, and I run print, right? I'm going to say print, and I will say into quotes hello world. So let's do this with me, guys, right? Print hello world, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and click on run. You can see run. Now once I click on run, it's going to run this cell and create a new cell below, right? So now let's look at this together. Now I can come here and go to edit and click on delete cell. Once I delete cell, so let me just click on this one, edit, and click on delete cell. So DD, the shortcut is DD, right? So once I delete cell, that cell is going to go away. Now if I want to input a new cell below, I'm going to come here, edit, and you can see create cell below. It's going to be B. Let's see. Paste cell below. So let's see, view. So I know the shortcut, but I'm looking at where we can see it from, right? So basically, if you want to actually create a new cell below, what you can do, let me see if I can see it here before I give you guys the shortcut. Okay, you okay, yeah, you can see here, just click on the plus icon, I guess. Yes, so once you click on the plus icon, it's going to add a new cell below, right? But the shortcut for doing that, because I like using shortcuts, and once we go along with this course, I'm going to be telling you the shortcut alongside how I'm using it, right? So to create a new cell below, you can just click on the B icon, right? So you make sure that you are not inside your, if you're inside your cell and you type B, B is going to write in your cell, right? So what you can do is click outside or click escape, right? So if I click outside or click escape, it's going to unselect that cell, and if I click on B, it's going to add a cell below. Likewise for A command also. So if I come here and I click on A, it's going to add a cell above, right? So yeah, I can write my new code here if I want to write new code here and all of that. So another cool stuff that you can do is once you click on edit, you can see select all cells. It's going to highlight everything. But basically, just know that all these commands are available right here. You don't need to cram anything. We are going to be using it along the course. I'm just trying to give you an overview of this Jupyter Notebook itself, right? So now you can come here. These are all the commands here also. Cut, copy, paste, run, stop, undo, and all of that. So this one, let me just explain this also to you. So get right here, you're going to see that we have code, and if you click on this drop down, you will see we have markdown and we have raw. Now, what is the difference? Remember I was explaining that you can go ahead to write notebook when you are coding also, right? And you can do that using a markdown format. So let me just show you an example. So here, for example, I can click on this cell and I will say, okay, markdown cell. And what do you notice? You can see that the number icon is no more showing here again, right? So that means that I can go ahead to actually write welcome to my first Python class, right? To my welcome to Python class. So let me just welcome to Python programming class, right? And I'll say setup and installation, right? Installation, right? So if I run it, you can see that it's now showing as a note. But if I go ahead to go and write welcome to Python class in my code cell, you can see that once I click on this cell, it's showing code, right? So if I go ahead to paste it here and I run this, you see we're going to have error, right? So we can do this because this is a markdown cell. We can write our notes here, right? So the cool part is we also have you can do headers, you can underline text and all of that. If you want to do header one, you can just do hashtag space, right? So hashtag space means header one. You can see this is going to be bigger. So let me just show you guys the different header that we have. So yeah, I'm going to say hashtag header one. I can just say heading one, right? So I can run this also and just click enter. I will say this one is for heading two, right? So and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste it, right? Paste, and I'll say heading three, and it's going to be three hash, right? Three hashtag. Same thing for heading four also, and it's going to be what, four hashes, right? For heading five also, same thing, but it's going to be what, five hashes, right? So 3, 4, 5, right? And the last one that we have is heading 6, right? You can just come here, Control Z and paste, and we have 1, 2, I have heading 6, right? So let me just run this. So you see that it gets bigger, bigger, smaller, 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 right? So these are the cool way you can format your text when you are writing your Jupyter notebook. And don't worry, we are going to also cover everything together step by step, right? So this is just an overview course just to show you guys how Jupyter Notebook works. So the next one I'm going to explain also is this particular run, right? So if you want to run, you can hit Shift Enter to run your code cell. So let me just delete this. This is just an example I explained to you guys. So for example, if I say print, and I'll say my name is Daveworld, right? Close this, and I run this. I didn't click on this run now. What I did is I clicked on what, Shift Enter, right? Shift Enter is going to run your cell. So you can just come here and explore it together. Look at the shortcut. You can try it out. Feel free to try it out, guys, so that you're going to get used to it. But don't worry if you don't understand what I explained today. We are going to be covering all of this once we get started with the course itself, right? So I just wanted to give you an overview of the Jupyter Notebook environment itself, right? So next is you have these your kernel settings. Don't worry much about this kernel. What it does is in case you are running your code and maybe it falls into a loop that is running over and over again and the code is not stopping, you can come here to actually interrupt kernel or restart kernel to just stop running the code on your particular notebook, right? But I'm going to explain all of this better as we go along with the course also. So Amit is saying, is it the hash that made it smaller? Yes. So that's why it's called markdown. So markdown has its own way of formatting text also, right? I'm going to cover all of that also, right? So you guys don't worry, this is just an introductory class just to show you how the overview of Jupyter Notebook itself, right? So next is we have settings, right? So these settings, you can turn on autosave if you want. If you don't want autosave and you want to be saving Control S every time, you can go ahead to turn it off, right? And you can change your text theme if you want to change it, and you can just go ahead to play around with this, right? So we also have help, right? So this help is also very nice, but what you can do here is in case you want to see the awesome shortcuts that are available on Jupyter Notebook, like someone like me, I really like using shortcuts, and I'm going to be saying the shortcut I'm using alongside what they do when we start our coding class, right? So if you come here on help and click on show keyboard shortcuts, it's going to show you all the shortcuts that are available that you can use on Jupyter Notebook, right? Everything that you can go ahead to use. So you can see if you want to redo, shift command Z. If you're on Windows, it's going to show you a different um command, right? So that's that about that. And you can also see that we have undo, command Z, run selected cell, shift plus enter, and I covered that already, right? So Sunday is saying, okay, yeah, sure. If you guys are confused about anything, comment section is there. Ask us any question. I'm there to actually answer you, right? So open command, find, you can see, so command F. So let's try out this find, for example, right? So if I close this and I hit command F, you can see that this is going to pop up, right? And you can do different things here. You can find and replace. For example, I can say find Daveworld, Daveworld, right? And replace it with Dave. And I hit enter, right? To say it has seen Daveworld here, you can see. I'll click enter again. You can see it replaces it here, right? So basically, all the commands here have what they are used for, and this is just an introduction of in Jupyter Notebook, basically the overview of Jupyter Notebook, and we are going to get used to it. Don't worry, this is your first time of seeing Jupyter Notebook, I know, right? You are going to get used to it, right? When it's your first time, it might seem a lot, but trust me, it's super easy to use, right? So the last thing I'm going to explain to you guys here is the IPy kernel, right? All right, it's the IPy kernel, right? And what is this IPy kernel? Basically, this IPy kernel is, it shows the kernel that you are currently running using to run your Python code, right? But I'm going to explain all of this. I just wanted to tell you guys that it actually exists here, right? So IPy kernel is just kernel you're using to run your Python code. You don't need to worry much about this. And basically, that's just the overview. And here you can see that if I over on this particular one, I can see explain selected code. This is using AI actually. You can see duplicate selected lines. So if I come here and I click on this, you can see it's going to duplicate it. You can see I can take this cell above, right? Take it above again, right? Take it above the cell, and I can take it below also. So let me just run this, right? I can take, so now I can take it below again, right? So these are all these things. You can just go ahead to look at it. You can see I can delete this cell if I want to delete it. I can come here and say, okay, delete this cell, for example, delete it, and I'm going to delete it, right? So that's the cool stuff about this Jupyter Notebook. And when you tend to actually structure your code base in using header 1 and header 2, right, you can go ahead to collapse it, right? So you can see collapse it, because this is under this particular headings, right? You can go ahead to collapse it. So for example, I can say, okay, if I have another one like hashtag what is Python, right? and I'm going to turn this to a markdown cell. Now look at me very well. If I want to turn this to a markdown cell, how do I do it? Come here, it's showing code, click on the drop down, change it to markdown, right? I can click on enter. So run this now, control enter, sorry, command enter right now. So now this command enter, if I come ahead to create a new cell below and I say print, right, and I say welcome to class, right? If I run this and I run it, you can see that now I can collapse these ones because it's under these headings, and I can collapse this one is Python because it's another header on its own, right? So we are going to actually look at cool ways of writing all these to put all these Python code, and how we can also take notes while we are coding also, right? um so I hope you guys got to understand what we did in today's class. If you don't understand, please do well. The video is available after this live class. Please do well to backtrack on it, watch it again. You can reduce the playback speed if you feel I'm too fast, or if you feel that I'm too fast, I'm too slow, you can also increase the playback speed. All right. And one of the cool stuff is that all of our videos that we've done previously, they are timestamps attached to it currently. So if you feel that you want to watch this particular part of this lecture only, you can go ahead to use the timestamp in the description and basically skip to whatever part you want to learn. All right, I hope we all got to understand what we did today. If we do, please do well to comment on the video, like the video, and also share to your friends, and so that YouTube can know that we are doing great stuff right here. So with that being said, that will be the end of today's lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, please make sure to smash that like button, and with that being said, I'll see you in our next lecture. Bye guys.